What you listening to, son?
I don't think you like it.
Well, why not? I like this new generation of music.
What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the Everything is Everything podcast, where we discuss the idea that every topic is related if you take the right steps. As always, please make sure to like if you like or don't if you don't. Also, leave comments on what topics we should try to connect in our future podcasts. You play golf, right? You play golf and you are on the tee, right? And I know Ryan could understand this one because we played golf the other day. You guys play golf at all?
No.
You guys can understand what I'm saying. I barely play golf myself.
I go top golf. That's about as far as I go.
I played one round of golf, but look,
Top golf.
No.
but look, say the hole is 500 feet down, right? Straight down.
Yep.
You start off, you're on the green or the tee or whatever. You hit it. You wanted it to go 480, 500 feet down the fairway, straight to the hole, right?
Mm-hmm.
Say you didn't. It goes way off into the rough, way off over to the side, yeah?
Right.
So the question is, when you do that, are you going to sit there and be upset that you hit it the wrong way and you're going to focus on that for the rest of the time you're playing golf? Or are you going to move on, honor, accept, enjoy even the fact that your ball is at the edge of the rough and you get a chance to see how well you can hit it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, what are you going to do with that situation? Are you going to sit there and say, I get a chance here, a real chance here to fix what I've done and get better at something that I'm lacking at, clearly?
I think you have to accept the fact that you just missed your shot. You had a bad shot. I think you have to go back onto the next one, refocus, rethink, gain your train of thought, and do the same thing that you're used to doing. Full swing all the way through, use your hips, whatever you need to do. And you can apply the same thing to any sport that you play, whether it's soccer, basketball, baseball, football, anything. In basketball, let's say playing Chris one-on-one, I miss a shot. Now, I could blame it on the wind. I could blame it on the ball. I could blame it on the ground. Maybe the ground messed me up or whatever. I hit a crack in the ground, whatever. Or I can just accept the fact that I simply missed a shot, or he was playing good defense, and I just missed a shot. So now my thought is, okay, I have to get the ball back, take a better shot, or create a better shot for myself, and go to something that I'm comfortable with doing that. If I'm trying to take some crazy type of shot, one-legged fadeaway Kobe pull up, I know I'm not gonna make that type of shot. That's not within my range.
Okay.
So you have to just accept the fact that you have to go and get it on the next one and continue.
And even bigger than that, I mean, if you're sitting there focusing on what happened already, right, then that is ensuring that you're not present in whatever you're going through,
Living in the
whatever
past,
you're doing,
really.
right? So I'll use your example, right? Since we could all relate to basketball, we all play basketball at some point. So, like you said, say we're playing basketball, I miss a shot. I could blame it on the wind, like you said. I could blame it on the sunlight in my eyes. I could blame it on, the ball's not good. It's not pumped up enough. You could blame it on any number of things. But at the end of the day, if you're focused on things that already happened, like, how are you going to fix that for the future?
And I think, like, to tie in with what you're saying, it's all about, like, how well can you adjust? And the person that can adjust, like, the most is the most likely to be successful, because that means that whenever they're in any given situation where they're forced to step outside their comfort zone, and then they can just adjust and accept the fact that the situation is what it is, they can move past it and move on and then look to greener pastures.
100%. And that even relates to, like, life in general, even outside of sports, outside of golf, outside of basketball, outside of soccer, baseball. And honestly, this is probably more applicable for everybody, even people that don't know anything about sports.
Definitely.
Right? And the perfect example of that is worrying about what everybody else thinks, right? So you're worried about what everybody else thinks, and that just shows that you are not gonna be doing your best. And the simple fix for that is you understand that you come to a realization that it's not everybody else's fault. Right?
Definitely.
Everybody's gonna have their own perception. And this is something that I had to realize a long time ago. I was super down, right? I was super anxious, worried to go outside because I was worried about what everybody else would think. And then I had to come to a realization. I said, look, is it really everybody else, or is it me?
Right.
Is it me just worrying about things that are out of my control Is it me worrying about things that aren't even necessarily happening the way that I envision them?
Mm-hmm.
And when I realized that it was me the entire time, that's when I could finally start to make a change, right?
Mhm.
Because when you sit there blaming everybody else for the things the problems that are going on in your life, how are you going to fix that?
Right. How you gonna fix your life for what other people have to say about you?
If it's everybody else's problem, how are you going to fix that?
And then
Right.
that's what you have most control over, your life. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like,
That's the only thing you have control
That's the
over.
only
Yeah.
thing you really have control of.
Yeah.
You have control over the decisions that you make for your life. It's your life. You live your life. Nobody else can live your life for you.
yeah.
Nobody can really make decisions. I mean, people can help you make a decision for yourself, but at the end of the day, you have to make the decision for what's best for your life. It's like picking a college.
Yeah.
It's like, or, doing anything, even if you're not going to college, but I'm just using the example of going to college.
Right.
If your parents are saying they want you to go to this college, let's just
Yeah,
say they want you to go to an Ivy League college like Princeton, Brown, Cornell, one of those, but that's, you're not able to go to that type of school. It's just not meant for you. Maybe you want to go to a college like Ohio State, Rutgers. You want to go to a big football school. You know what I mean? A party school. So that's ultimately up to you to make that decision.
Yeah.
You have to learn how to make decisions for yourself.
Yeah, and I think I think like a good I'm trying to think of the word example, just kind of in damn I'm messing it up, but either way, you can't fix everything around you, so you almost got to think yourself until you work on yourself. You almost have to think of yourself as like a toolbox, right? You can't build a house if all your tools are broken.
That's a good point.
Absolutely.
It doesn't work.
That's a good point.
What are you going to do? You can't hammer the shit in if you don't have a hammer.
Mm-hmm.
You're the hammer. And that's why a lot of people build like something that... you can build something. You can go back and grab a bunch of sticks. They'll stand together. But it doesn't mean they're built together, because then eventually it just goes like this. And you got to get back up there and all that. And it keeps happening. People can't find their way. You have to look in the mirror and make sure your own foundation is concrete before you can go anywhere else.
Yeah, and honestly, when you pass the buck, pass the blame to everybody else, that is probably the most detrimental thing you could possibly do.
You have no control of your own life. That's that's what creates anxiety.
That's the biggest problem, because then you're focused on and this is exactly what I was talking about. People start to when they think it's everybody else's fault, that's when they start to try and manipulate the outside world in order for them to feel okay. Because it's everybody else's fault, right? I mean, I got to fix them so I can feel okay.
Yeah,
and if you don't clean up your act, then boy, you're gonna be sorry, right?
Right.
It's like, dude.
Sounds like somebody we know, huh?
I think.
Oh yeah.
I think.
Yo, look at that.
I think a lot of people, they think their issues just come from the outside world. It has nothing to do with them.
Right.
It has nothing. Oh, these issues are just coming from the outside world. They're not my issues. They're just issues that are being put on top of me. No. That's not how it works. The issues most likely came from you. Now, there's issues that will naturally come from the world because, I mean, it's the world. It's just how life works. Things are just going to pop up. We can't control life.
Yeah.
But we can control what happens in our life.
The way we react to
The way we react and how. And I think if you're able, what really any successful person has, that if you look, they're able to adapt on the fly.
Yeah.
So they're able to adjust to a situation and be able to change that situation around quickly. They get a quick response to things. So if you're able to adjust to things quickly and see that something's happening and you take initiative and take action and create a response for that problem, it's way easier than just sitting back and be like, oh my God, all these issues, man. I'm just going to blame it on somebody. Man, this is your fault.
Yeah.
This is your fault. How is it my fault?
This random guy. Hey, this is your fault, man. He's like, who are you, bro? Like, what's going on with
Right.
that?
You can't just blame it on the outside world. You're never going to gain anything. You're just going to keep going down. Just going to keep going down. Because you think that all these issues have nothing to do with you or relate to your life at all.
And that's huge as well, because I can relate to that in terms of, I used to play baseball, right? I wasn't bad at baseball necessarily, but whenever I would have a bad game, I would always deflect.
It was always your team. It was always your
There's always,
teammate.
oh, that umpire, bro. He
The
was
umpire,
catching
yeah. I literally, I would be that way too. Literally, whenever I had a bad game, I literally would be like, "Yo, these refs were trash, bro. The refs sold us out. The basket was
They sold
dusty.
all our
The
bread.
rim was terrible. The net wasn't correctly 10 by 10. Like I was
It wasn't
finding
aligned to the exact 0.10th
the
degree.
the court was dusty. My shoes had no grip, man. Like you just find every possible little thing to blame because of issues that you had in yourself. So it's hard. Your ego is sometimes your ego is so big that you can't accept that you just had a bad day, that you had a bad game, that things just didn't go your way. You made mistakes. You just like because we're not perfect.
Yeah.
And we've been saying this, we're not perfect at all. So the number one thing that you have to do is accept flaws in reality. You have to accept reality for what it is. Because if you can't, you're just not going to go anywhere. You're not gonna go
I don't know if this will like help motivate anybody, but like if you really break it down to the basic science of us and just anything, to what you were saying, like if you don't go out there and you don't work on it right, or you don't try to find any solution, it was when you said being able to adapt. That is literally evolution. If you want to break it down to the furthest point you can physically break it down, none of us would be here if everyone just projected everything and never took initiative, because we wouldn't have this, we wouldn't have this.
Right.
It's
this
pure
thing right here, we would
evolution,
not
yeah.
have this, what we call the telephone now.
And I'm not saying you can't fix it, but if you're not trying to work on yourself at all and you just projecting everything, it almost really is like you're de-evolving. You're just becoming a piece of mush that blames everything else, who sits on the couch, gaining weight, sad about their life. Get up and evolve, damn it. Get up and go out there and make something happen for you and your species or something. I don't know. But
And you just have
yeah.
to think about history in general, like we're saying, how evolution happened. Imagine if Thomas Edison never created the light bulb, or we never had the automobile. We never had any of these things. So if history was just stagnant, would it really be history?
No. You think that light bulb didn't click on? He said, "Damn it, Jay, what are you doing?" You know what I mean? Like, no, like you freaking fix that, and he got it to work. You know what I mean?
Nah, but what's huge is that going back to the point about everybody just almost trying to manipulate the outside world in order to make themselves feel more comfortable. It's almost like they don't understand that things are gonna happen whether they try to make them happen or not.
Nah, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
what's incredible is that I heard Michael Singer talk about this. I was listening to this podcast the other day. Man's a genius, bro. He's got so much insight. It's crazy. But it's like you're almost trying to hold up the entire world on your shoulders, like Atlas, like that statue of the guy holding the entire world on it. And it's like, hey, Atlas, dude, like the world will stay up by itself.
Yeah.
It's gravity. It's natural law.
You know what I mean? Like everything around you, look at everything around you. It made itself, or it didn't make itself, but it made itself without you. It made itself without me. Like this mic, this computer. I had nothing to do with how this was made. We don't even know where
it was made, who made it, who
we don't know
touched
who
it.
made it. We don't know the materials inside of it. We don't know anything, right? And even beyond that, this universe is 13.8 billion years old. So it almost happens like, you realize it's like, wow, there was nothing. And now look at what we have. Like where did everybody come from? Where did you guys come
made from?
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
like
like-
we're all our own universes of blood cells and weird things.
Ancestors and history. And I think when you take a look back at it, we have so much to be thankful for and grateful for. Literally. Just the fact that we woke up this morning. That's something to be grateful for.
That's my first
And
reaction in the morning.
Literally. Thank you, God, for waking me up. Literally, that's
all
the
you
prayer
gotta say.
that's the prayer that I say every morning. And literally, there's so much to be grateful for, where I think some people rather, because their certain situation that they're in doesn't allow them to be grateful for the things that they truly have around them. And sometimes the situation you're in will blur your senses and will dull you to everything that you really have around you. So I think that when you're able to clearly see the things that you should be grateful for, it allows you to be, I want to say, let's say humble and know the current situation or the present moment
Like content.
that you're in. Have content for what you have and what you're allowed to work with. So I think when you're able to clearly see that or have at least an understanding of the present moment that you're in and that you can make the best of it, it makes life for you way better.
And I want to add on to that because that was a beautifully said. Like, I think if the only way to be fully content too and like be able to really like be humble about the small wins and like take them to heart is when you are like self-aware. And
You
content.
gotta
Because
accept
you're
that
not
present
gonna
moment.
be acceptive of it when you realize, because it brings the self-awareness with it. So my point is like, you can't be content until you realize you might be the problem for a couple of those things.
Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely.
And the only way to be content is knowing you're gonna fix it and not hating on yourself, and just taking the wins with it. But that's why a lot of people. That's why I wanted to say that, because to what you were saying, a lot of people can't get there,
Right.
because they can't find that self-love. You can't get there unless you can go, you know what? It's probably my fault for this and this, and like I can fix this, and then the other things that got piled on from the outside world, you can be like, oh, it sucks.
But you
But
just
work
you
on-
gotta work. You gotta continually be able to adjust to things and know that things are gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like I said,
absolutely.
accepting that present moment that you're in, realizing the situation of that present moment, and then you just have to continually go day by day. It's a
Right.
day by day thing.
And the thing is, when you don't, going back to that point about self-love that you had, when you don't have that self-love, obviously that's when you start to care about what everybody else thinks, right? And I heard Kyrie Irving talking about this. I believe it was Kyrie Irving.
I love Kyrie.
And he basically said that other people's perceptions about who you are is one of the biggest roots of human struggle, which is very true.
Absolutely.
But even deeper than that,
Absolutely.
this is an ancient Buddhist teaching. And it goes even deeper than worrying about what everybody else thinks about you. And the biggest root of human struggle, of any at all, is desires. That's it. When you wish a certain way, fears and desires, as a matter of fact, because when you wish things are a certain way, the way that they're not, right, that causes you to almost feel like your situation isn't good enough.
Right. You want that situation to be somewhere where it's not supposed to be.
Or maybe where it just isn't.
It isn't
at the
supposed to
moment.
be. So I think a lot of people wish that their situation was in a different current state. But everything happens for a reason, so that situation is where it's supposed to be for right now.
You just gotta take it as a lesson.
You just
learned.
have to take it as a lesson and accept it, like we keep saying, accepting that present moment. So your situation is going to get better. But just know that it takes time to get out of a certain situation that you're in. So that if you can accept the process and the situation you're in, and it can accept that present moment, your whole, like we said earlier, when I said that your senses were dulled, all of your senses will be opened, and you'll have clear vision on what you need to do. Because if you can accept that, then you understand what you need to do. You'll find out what you want to do and what you need to do in order to get to a certain point where you want to be, where you want that situation to get out of.
But this is exactly why I think it's important to accept the moment for what it is, right? Like,
Definitely.
I want to go back to what you were saying about how your desires really blind you, right? It almost makes you want something that maybe isn't meant for you, right? I'm gonna say that one more time with this mic. It almost makes you, want something.
You
that
gotta
isn't
hear.
meant
You
for
guys gotta really hear what we saying.
You know what I mean? It makes you want. This mic doesn't work, but it makes you want something that isn't meant for you, right?
Yeah.
And when you understand that, it's just like, then you realize that what you're saying, what your mind is telling you, is really just a facade. It's just made up. It's just what your mind thinks is best.
It's not
for you.
attainable.
And I
Yeah,
think
it's not attainable.
And I think a
lot of
good
times.
example that I think a lot of people, I'm just going to say a lot of people can relate to, is we all have the desire for money. Money can,
one point, yeah.
at one point, or in any point of somebody's life, they're going to have the want and desire for money. Because right now in this world, it's a need.
Yeah,
You need money in order to, like, nothing is free.
Certainly.
You have to buy the microphone. You had to buy the computer.
Certainly
You had to
did.
buy the camera. You had to buy whatever. You had to buy
Man,
clothes.
you're making my pockets hurt,
Like
bro.
literally,
That's crazy.
money is something that we need in this society and world right now.
To live comfortably.
And
100%.
not to say that money isn't something that you need, but when it controls your life and becomes let's say a wrongful mindset, I'm just going to use that terminology, then that's when it consumes you and that's when it turns you around. And it flips you into that negative mindset of, oh, I just need money. Money is just going to control
It
my
turns
life.
into greed.
It's just going to start turning into greed.
Yeah, I think
And-
the question is, who's willing to accept where they're at? Who's willing to accept the position that they're in, and who's willing to change that, or to at least try and change that for
It's
what you think is better?
I think it's self-will and strength, because I think two things to what we've been saying. I think desires, in a non-trying to sound overly religious way, I think desires, for the most part, genuinely can be the devil. It's how the devil blesses you.
I agree.
The
I
devil
certainly-
can bless you, and that's with. It's usually with like little dopamine things, like things that give you dopamine in the moment, like pretty girl or a lot of money, or some people it's drugs, some like whatever, and it just keeps leading them down that path. That's where it comes from. And the other thing I wanted to say is fear is literally just the unknown. If you can master that every time you're freaking out about something, it's just because you don't know what's about to happen, you can be crapping your pants and be calm. Because you're scared because you don't know what's about to happen, but you understand that it's just a feeling of not knowing, so you're not freaking out.
That's literally a great point, because literally I could take, for example, an amusement park ride. Let's say
Yes.
you've never been on a ride before. For me, when we were at Disney and I went on Tower of Terror, I was literally fearing for because I don't like rides where you feel like your stomach is about to fall out of your body, literally about to stick to your butt. Literally, I don't like rides like that. It's just me. I've never liked them ever since growing up. So literally, I get on the ride, not knowing what's about to happen. I know we're gonna drop.
Yeah, it's just a drop,
You just
man.
don't know when it's coming, and it's it's that you don't know what's about to happen. That's why fear comes. Anytime you go into a situation where you don't know what's about to happen, you're most likely gonna be fearful because you don't know the outcome. Right. You don't know what's about to happen. So we get on the ride, and it's engaging you. So trying to take your mind out of, you don't know when you're gonna drop.
Yeah, it's trying to freak you out.
It's
even
trying
more.
to prepare you. So I'm just sitting there with my eyes closed, clenching for dear life. All my friends are like, and I'm sitting there I can't hear nobody. I can't hear nobody. And literally the doors open and you just look out and you're just like, oh my God. And you just drop, and then you come up and then you drop. And it wasn't even that ride, because the ride is meant for kids. It's just meant to give you that thrill. So anytime, like you said, fear is literally just anxiety because you don't know what's about to happen. But anytime you don't know what's about to happen, you have to take time to yourself, even just a couple of seconds, just to think okay, I don't know what's about to happen. But even though I don't know what's about to happen, I still have to maintain what we said in the last podcast, limits and boundaries. I still have to know, no matter what happens, I'm still going to be okay. I'm still going to be able to go on with my life no matter what happens. So you have to accept that, be in the present moment, and just live through it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the best thing for me that's ever happened is just to view it as just one word. I view things as challenging. I'm like, wow, this is exciting. This is challenging, man. Like that's better than nothing, isn't it?
Yes.
Right.
It takes there's like a saying, right? It's it takes a true mental warrior to treat situations of fear like chess. So basically, when you get into an area where you pretty much even know you're about to lose, it takes a real mental warrior to keep doing the best move. So my point is you're probably about to lose, but that doesn't mean you just sit down the sword
and you give up.
Give up. You keep doing it all the way until you can't do whatever you can't do no more, just to show and prove, whatever the point. Also, there's not ever a moment in time where there's not a chance that you could come out on top. Unless it's just one of those. I mean, sometimes I guess there's
That's
like, games or weird
that's literally
things,
an
but-
example of what Chris said a long time ago. He's like, the horse. When we play horse, and I'd be smacking him. Literally be smacking him like 30-0. And it was literally that drive, like the want to, like, knowing that there is a possibility that you can come out on top.
Yeah.
No matter what the circumstances or the situation is. Having that mental toughness gives you the ability to thrive in hard situations. So if you can construct your mind and have the ability to know that in any tough situation that there is a possible way to come out on top or just get clearance.
Even if
Some
it is
type
stepping
of,
outside your comfort
even
zone.
if it is stepping outside of your comfort zone. If you have that mental toughness, it makes you 100 times better.
Absolutely. And it all comes back to during that moment, you ground yourself for a second and you say, what do I really need? What do I really want out of this, right? So with that being said, I think we all made some fantastic points right there.
Definitely. I can't wait to watch this one back.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a great one. We appreciate y'all for tuning in,
Fine.
listening to what we have to say. Make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe, and share this to your friends.
Yeah,
Please
why
share
not
it.
share it with your friends? if
Share
they
it with
need
your friends. We want to make sure that we get this word out and just want to give y'all gems for your life so that you can apply and that we could just keep giving y'all knowledge for the community. So
Always tune in and love every one of you guys, all right?
Always
Absolutely.
keep them better
Simple.
in yourself.
see you on the next
All
one. Let's
right.
go.